Hi everyone, welcome back. And my next speaker is Alejandro, who is the CEO and founder of a company called Future Sharks. And Alejandro is going to share with us how to build a predictable SEO growth machine.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks everyone for joining, and excited to share
Yeah,
my screen.
take it
There we go.
away.
Sounds good. Can people see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Cool. So thanks everyone for joining. Today I wanted to share a few of the tips that I've learned on how to build a predictable SEO growth machine. My website is down there if you want to check out more on me. But I've been doing SEO for about 8 years. I typically work with companies Series B and above, helping them grow and scale their SEO motions. And here are some of the tips that I've learned on how to do that. I think the first step to building a predictable machine is to really understand what that looks like. And in my head, this is what it looks like. We have the outputs we care about, such as rankings and traffic. And here I'll add revenue or whatever proxy metric that might be for your business, such as downloads or activations. And we have the inputs to make that happen. I know there's about 200 different factors that Google looks into to rank content, but I think they can largely be bucketed into these 4 different buckets. We have the content bucket, and here the variables we can control are the quality of the content, how much it costs us to produce the content in-house or outsourced, and how many of that pieces of content we produce, such as the volume. We have the backlinks or the off-page SEO, and here we can also vary the quality, the cost, and the volume. And we have the technical SEO and CRO. And here the main factor is the cost of engineering or marketing resources. And I think a very important input as well is the speed and the priority of at which we make those input changes. So the faster we execute and the better strategically we execute, the more we can generate as results and feed that back into the machine so that we can continue growing. When we are competing in SEO, we're typically competing with websites with larger budgets that are more established. So we want to be strategic about how we go about this so that we can start winning just the easy battles, but the smart battles that are going to help us continue winning. And we can create this machine in like 5 simple steps. So the first step to do this is to understand the entire size of the SEO opportunity. That means doing a keyword research and attaching a business value to it. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Next, we want to estimate the costs, time, and effort required to grab that opportunity. Next, we want to prioritize the different blog posts and pages based on ROI. Next, we want to produce that content as fast as possible using SOPs and different tools like Outranking, ClearScope to delegate and outsource the task. And lastly, so that it becomes a self-sustaining model, we want to reinvest the profits, that traffic, that authority back into the model so that we can continue growing and continue going down the list we identified in step number 3. So the first step is to define and understand the size of the entire SEO opportunity. And here we're not looking at search volume anymore. We want to understand deeper metrics, such as the exact business value that a set of keywords can bring to our business. And to do that, we want to conduct a thorough keyword research of 10,000 to 100,000 keywords. In most businesses, in most industries, a lot of the content and keywords have already been created. For example, if we're talking about loans, what are loans, what are mortgage rates? A lot of this content has been created. So we only really need to do a thorough research about once a year. In more nascent industries, we might need to do it a little more often, such as like Bitcoin, for example. But generally, we want to conduct a really big keyword research of 100,000. I've even gone up to 500,000 keywords. And then we want to group them and start to understand what that entire SEO opportunity looks like. So how do we conduct this meaty keyword research? I think we have to go beyond tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, and we can also leverage our sales and product team. We want to talk to them and see what words they're using to describe the pain points of our customers. We want to use Search Console and AdWords, of course. We want to talk to customers, and we want to read what our competitors are writing about. And in this model, I like to first add any keyword, regardless of whether it's big or small, with impressions greater than 1 into the list. We'll clean the list a little bit later, but for now, we basically want to gather as much data as possible. And like I said, we want to not just look at search volume, but also attach a dollar value for each keyword. So we want to attach an estimated value to the keyword by looking at our Salesforce or Shopify data, Clearbit company size, 6 cents, etc. And this doesn't have to be, and it's really not perfect. What we're looking here is more of a directional indicator as to which keywords might be more valuable to our business. For example, if we have a fruits business, are the oranges or the apples more valuable as a keyword to our business? This is kind of what we want to understand. So this is what a simple model might start to look like. Here we have 2 different keywords. We have the oranges and the limes. We have the search volume. We have the estimated rank. So where do we think we could land? We have the estimated CTR for that rank. We have the conversion to lead, the conversion to a customer, and the LTV. So even though oranges is searched twice as often as limes here in this example, it's only $1,000 more valuable. So we can start to have a much deeper sense of what are the most valuable keywords in our industry and start to optimize that way. And you can use different tools to kind of start to have better numbers here. Here, these are some numbers for the sake of example, but you could use Google Analytics goals to get your conversion leads, conversion rates. You can use historical CTRs from AdWords. And we also want to be conservative in the way we do our estimates so that we're not over-promising the value of a keyword and we have the right investment for it. After we understand this, and we want to do this for all those different keywords that I mentioned, all those 10 to 100,000 keywords, we also want to estimate the costs to grab that opportunity. And the costs can be broken down into 3 main buckets. One is the writing and optimizing. So how much money would it cost us to write it in-house or outsource it, to write a new piece of content or re-optimize it? The off-page stuff, how many backlinks do we need? And here I'm putting a cost of backlinks, not because you have to pay for backlinks, but you could outsource the guest post and also outsource the outreach. So there's also some time investment here and some monetary investment as well. And lastly, the technical resources. Do we need to make any changes to the website? Do we need to add schema? And I'm also adding some time requirement to have a total cost for that particular page to rank in the estimated rank that I have. Lastly, what we want to do is group those keywords into what are called clusters. So a keyword clustering, if you're not familiar, is the idea of grouping keywords together if they return similar results on Google. So for example, here we have oranges and limes grouped into the citrus cluster, and then strawberries and blueberries grouped into the berries cluster. So if we want to dominate the berries vertical, we want to write about strawberries and blueberries for a combined search volume of 7,500. And I'll have a link to the slides as well. And I'm here linking to a blog post if you want to learn more about keyword clustering. After we do that, we combine everything, and we have a stack ranked list of clusters and ROI. So here we have the berries cluster with 7,500 search volume, combined value of $4,500, and a total cost of $1,300. So to write those 2 blog posts, optimize and get the backlinks, it's going to cost us $1,300. So that is an ROI of $3.46 for every dollar we spent on the berries cluster. And when you do that, you can get maybe like 50, 100 different clusters, and then you can have a metric that you can prioritize them by. And here I'm putting a caveat. You don't have to just prioritize by budget, or you have to prioritize just by ROI. You can do it by budget. You can do it by quick wins, which ones are going to take the least to show results, and which ones require the least amount of stakeholders. There's different ways to prioritize it, but the idea here is to have one metric to prioritize it by and start going down the list. After you have the list prioritized, I think it's only fair that you try to execute against it as fast as possible. And the way to do this is to kind of create a very good set of SOPs or standard operating procedures. Here you can see an example on the right where I'm outlining how to write content for my specific site. What are the guidelines? What are the tools that I'd like them to use? And what are the other caveats that they should be aware of? when we size the entire SEO opportunity, because we're using so many keywords and that we eventually scratch out a few, it will appear as a very, very large opportunity. And it will be unfair to try to do everything ourselves because we can't do it well or fast enough. So we'll ideally outsource and separate the process to different teams. And here I've tried to document every single process from the writing to the outreach to the image creation so that it can be standardized across the team. And I use Coda for all my documents as well. But the main point of this slide is to really execute it really fast. We have to have a standard operating procedure so that people can reference it and start having a good standard to execute against. Lastly, and the last step of the process is to really reinvest and refine the model. As we start to produce more content and we start to rank it, we will be able to refine the initial assumptions, such as how much time and cost does it take us to optimize and produce a blog post? What is the LTV? Are the oranges segment more valuable than the berries now that we have some more data? What are the conversion rates? Do those still hold the ones that we originally have? And we also will continuously improve the SOPs and evolve them as the org changes, as we introduce new tools, new processes, and new people. And over time, this model becomes a much more fine-tuned, specific to the organization, and can be used to evaluate further opportunities as the business expands into new regions and new products. And I know that the model is really simple, and it's designed with simplicity so that most people in the company can understand it. So you can very easily sell that internally, sell that at your clients and stuff like that. But the secret really lies in executing it as fast and efficiently as possible. And you can use different tools to do that. And here are some of my favorite ones. I like to use Keyword Cupid for keyword research. I like to use BigCrawl for technical analysis and stack ranking different changes that need to happen on the website. For process, I use Coda to track the progress of writing articles. I like to use Airtable. To produce content, I like to use ClearScope. I still have to give a try to outranking, but it looks really promising as well. And for reporting, I use Google Data Studio connected to AdWords, connected to analytics, and Salesforce data as well. I have some more tools linked at the bottom here as well. But the general idea and the main takeaway of the presentation today, I think, is that if we take a mathematical approach and we have some sort of solid assumptions, as many sound assumptions as we can, we will get an imperfect model. It's not going to be perfect. It will never be. But it'll be a useful model for us to understand what does the opportunity of SEO look like, what are the efforts, and what's the time requirement, and what is the first post that I need to write, and what is the post 100 that I need to write. And when we have that, we can start executing against that with a lot of confidence, because we know what value we're going to bring out of every single blog post that we write. And we start developing this flywheel that feeds off itself. The more content we write, the better it becomes, the better we become at writing the content. And also, the more Google rewards us with that authority, that helps us rank even faster. And with that, I'll take some time for questions. The slides are going to be here, alejandro.com/outranking. And yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see if there are any questions. Drop them in the chat here. Also, I see that there is some additional giveaway.
Yes.
Tell us.
Yeah. So for anyone who's interested in connecting with social media, I just search my name on your favorite platform, including Google. And if you want to know some more of my content, it's all free in this link that I have here, alejandro.com/best articles. And if you want to work together, or have me handle your SEO, also send me a message. And I'll swap out to the air meet for some questions.
Awesome. You know what? It looks like we don't have any questions just yet. For everyone, I'm going to give a few more seconds for you. If you have any additional things, just drop them here in the chat or in the Q&A. But moving forward, we're actually going to have 6 only 10-minute sessions. It's going to be very quick, 10-minute power fire sessions, tactic sessions, basically. So it's not going to be 20 minutes. It's only going to be 10 minutes. So we're going to have 6 sessions, and that's going to be it. Alejandro, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking this time. We look forward to seeing you at our future events. Looks like we don't have any questions. Thank you so much for being so organized, and like everything that you put in the slides is very nicely laid out. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll drop a link to the slides in the chat for anyone else who's interested.
Okay, everyone, see you in the next session.